No. Explorer choked.
Yeah, I've been spending this. I could talk about this on air. I think it would actually be interesting to our audience. I've been spending the weekend building a new PC. And when I was installing Windows 10 on it, it blue screened a couple of times. So lovely. I mean, I think I know why it blue screened. I think it was the ASUS motherboard software, so I uninstalled that. Of course, now I can't control the motherboard, but since I did that, no crashes.
All right.
Anyway.
All right.
So I think the thing to talk...
Yeah.
What I wanted to talk about today was cheap tech upgrades. We're working on a story about cheap... about how to, make major upgrades to your either computer or your tech life for less than $50. So
okay.
So I have some things there that I can share.
All right. That sounds good. I remembered to delete old recordings tonight. All right. My monitors are in weird tonight. I apologize in advance. I am, my brain's a little off tonight, so.
That's okay.
I got tired. Like, all of a sudden, just, boom, I was tired today. So,
no, that's not good. My mother called me and said the same thing. She thinks she has COVID, but she hasn't tested positive.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that's what it is. Yeah. unless walking into Goodwill gives it to you, like, and symptoms manifest immediately. But, all right. Did you see everything else?
Let's see. I saw only 3 stories when I checked this afternoon.
Amazon, GameStop, DuckDuckGo, and Batgirl.
Ah, Batgirl you added. Fantastic.
I did. It's like I can't... Avram pitched a story on Tuesday. We can't not do it. And it was a big story. It's an interesting series of things that's happened since then, so... Should be fun.
Yep.
All right, let me get everything configured over here. I think I'm good. All right. You ready?
Yep.
All right. This chair has started to squeak today. That should be fun. All right. This week, Amazon's exploring your home. GameStop is selling your stuff. DuckDuckGo is protecting your privacy, and DC is canceling Batgirl. It's Sunday, August 7th, 2022, and this is episode 628 of F5 Live, Refreshing Technology, a proud part of the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here. Wherever you are and however you're accessing our show, whether it be on social media like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or Snapchat, through a podcatcher like Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or a myriad of other options, through our live stream platforms like livestream.com, Twitch, or YouTube, where you can become a member and get exclusive content and ad-free episodes of F5 Live and Piltch Point, or on our website, PLUGHITZlive.com. Thank you for making us a part of your day. There are, of course, 2 ways that you can do that. The first is Sunday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern. You can go to f5live.tv/join us. There you can chat with us in the studio, give us your feedback on the topics as we talk about them. If you're not able to join us live, that's okay. PLUGHITZlive.com/subscribe. There you'll see all of our shows, including F5 Live, The Piltch Point, PLUGHITZ Live Presents, and a whole lot more. And of course, you'll find all the ways to watch, listen, and follow along. Well, Avram, this is 2 in a week. We're, we did a show on Tuesday, and we're back. It's good to be back with you. What have you been doing in the last couple days since the last show?
Actually, it's been quite eventful.
Okay.
It's been quite eventful in a few ways. One is I got my keycaps that I had ordered a few weeks ago
Okay.
from AliExpress, which means that they come from China, but um, you can get some of the same keycaps here on Amazon, but AliExpress was cheaper. So like on Prime Day, when that was a big thing, I wanted to get these keycaps, but they were like $10 cheaper on AliExpress. So I was like, you know what? I'll just wait. I'll buy them on AliExpress and wait. So these keycaps came, and I actually really like them. I don't know if you can see here.
Oh.
They're called. I don't think there's a particular brand on Amazon. They're sold by a brand called HiKit, but on AliExpress they seem to have no brand name. These are kind of SA style sculpted keycaps. They're kind of indented. I wish they were a little less indented. Like the home row keys, like the J and F, are more indented than the others.
Okay.
But I really like the color. They're a little bit higher than other keycaps. And keycaps like this are usually fairly expensive, and I got these for $40, which is good. There were actually a lot of keys, like 150 keys in the set, which is important because if you get a set that doesn't have the right keys and you have like a control key over on like this side of the keyboard, right? And they give you a long one or a long shift, then you're going to be stuck. So they need to give you lots of different options, lots of different right shift keys. So you have one that matches the length of your keyboard, lots of different right and control and alt keys, stuff like that. So anyway, really dig these. These are cool. At first I was like, they're too indented, but then I'm starting to get used to them, and I really love them. Now, I also bought some cheap keycaps.
Okay.
From AliExpress, thinking like, okay, what does $16 keycaps get you? And these are also sort of SA style keycaps, which are like that high, which I wanted to get into because they're kind of the old retro style that you saw on terminal keyboards. Now, these don't look so bad at first blush unless you pull out one which has a cracked stem, which some of them did. But this set is unusable. So I guess sometimes you get what you pay for. This set was unusable in the weirdest way. So first of all, it didn't have keycaps for some of the, like it had a really long right shift key, and my right shift space is not.
Yeah.
And then they had a really short one, so I could use the really short one, but there was like all kinds of space around it. And then there were like the control, function, and alt keys that they didn't have, that were only large size. Now, still, I could just take other special keys and put them in those spots and have keys. So I tried all that, and I tried typing on it. And the weirdest thing, the keys were not of uniform height. So now they're supposed to be like different rows are supposed to be like higher or lower, I guess, with this type of keycap. But like the Q row was like way lower than the ASDF row. It was like diving off of a diving board into the keys. And so I was like, I tried typing on it for like 10 minutes, and I'm like, I can't live like this. This is horrible. So, I was going to try like the cheap keys for a week, and then try these fancier ones for a week because I had bought both of them. And I wish I didn't get the cheap ones. So, they're absolute disaster, and they had high ratings on AliExpress. So don't believe what you read.
And we've talked about that in particular. This isn't topic time, but we've talked about that in particular, not necessarily on AliExpress, but on Amazon, paying for reviews or sending one for free.
Right.
You buy it, we'll pay you back if you write the review. That happens on Amazon all the time.
I don't even know if they have to go to that length at AliExpress, because I don't know how seriously they police the reviews. It could just be the people who make the keys or whatever. So that
or
really,
paid, just one of those paid, review spammers.
right. So anyway, so that was one thing, and then the other thing that's been a bigger deal is that I'm building a new PC,
Yes.
and I'm almost done with that. Um, so probably next time we have our show, I'll be using the new PC,
Nice.
but it's sitting right over here. Everything is pretty much working on it except uh, the cable, like the cable. I'm trying to make it look nice with cable management,
Uh-huh.
trying to keep the cables becoming a mess. And like, there's this whole set that the cables from the power supply are like hard as a rock. And so they're really stiff. And so it's really hard to kind of bend them and shuffle them to where they should be. I
Yeah.
actually, one of the spare parts that was given to me were some extension power supply cables, which I'm using, which are very nice and flexible. But like trying to run the extensions through and then hide the original cable in the back is difficult. And then this case
Yeah.
that I have, which is a case that you know this case that I have is just super heavy. It's like giving me a, back pain to try and move it. Um, but this is from some spare parts,
Right.
and it should turn out to be pretty decent. So we'll see. I also sort of broke part of the motherboard, which hasn't happened to me before because I try. It's the USB 3 header that goes to the front panel.
Okay.
I tried plugging it in, and I guess I couldn't get it right, and I smushed the pins,
Oh.
and I can't like unsmush the pins for some reason.
Oh.
So so either no front panel or I need to buy like a USB card that I can
Yeah.
plug the front panel into. Or there's another thing which I just ordered, which I guess I'll try to go with, which is a little 3-to-2 adapter, and so I can take the front header cable
And at
on
least get it
this
into two.
case and plug it into a 2 header on the board, which means that it'll get USB 2 speeds. Which, to be honest, the front panel on your computer, like it's very useful. Like you get something, you need to plug it right in, you
Right.
know, dongle for a mouse or something like that.
For
But
me, it
how many
tends
of
to
those
be
things
quick
really?
access flash drives.
Yeah. Now there, having 3 would be better,
Right.
but not a deal killer because you can always just I mean, if
Deal
it's
with it.
not huge files, you can wait.
Yeah.
So anyway, so
Well,
that's
I can appreciate
that's
most
where
of
I'm at.
that because we just finished building PCs, partially based on the Tom's Hardware inexpensive gaming PC build.
Which one?
Uh, I don't
Which
the
price point? The medium
not
one, the high
not the
one,
not the 500, the one above the 500.
the 1000 one?
Yeah, it was partially based on that. We made some adjustments for Strike.
Of course.
But yeah, I mean, so we just built, and we went with a particular case from a good, a friend of the company, Rosewill. Their case is powering here in the studio, and it's got this particular one came with LEDs on the sides, and the fans all have LEDs, and the case was $50. It was hard to pass up, but yeah. So there's one in mission control right now.
That's great. Yeah, there's a lot of one of the dilemmas, and I know we're going to get to some stuff, but I'm really curious what you and even the
Sure.
audience think of this dilemma, which is like, first of all, where do you keep the case? Is it on top of a desk or under a desk?
So it depends on what we're talking about. So for me here, one is in the counter for this computer, and then out in Mission Control, they're all in a server rack. So I'm a special case. But over at Strike, they're on top of the desk because we want to show them off.
See, so this is interesting, right? I want to save desk space. So
Right.
I put mine under the desk, and I got all this stuff that has RGB in it. And it's like, oh, does it even matter if the RGB is on if I'm not going to look at it much? It's not to say
Right.
you can't see it if I look down in like that, but it's not right in front of me, right? On the other hand, so my first thought was, I don't care. I'm not going to turn on any RGB stuff. I'm not even going to plug in the RGB controllers that this came with. And then I saw all the stuff unlit, and I was like, this looks wrong. It should work. It should function. So
Sure.
so like that's where I'm at right now, is actually getting the RGB to function, because it seems wrong. On the other hand, once I am done with it, I mean, I won't say it will be invisible, but it won't be something I'm spending my life looking at the internals of.
Right. The
Remember
likelihood
when
is that
we
it's
used
going
to
to be
not have
minimized.
Yeah. Remember when we used to not have glass? Like, that's the thing that made PC building harder in the last several years, is that the look of it began to matter, right? Like when I was, a young adult and I was built my first PCs, right? I was like, they didn't have glass side panel. So you didn't care how messy it was inside. Doesn't matter, as long as the fan didn't chop the wire apart.
You were good to go.
All was good, But now it's like a little bit of a work of art. So cases are made, and people do this so that you don't see all kinds of messy wires. You have beautiful, colorful lights, and I don't know.
Yeah, I was looking to see if we had a picture of the of the Strike computers running, because there's a ton of RGB and one glass panel. The last case that I had for my computer in Mission Control was glass on all sides, which never again on that, because you've at least got to have the backside to hide your evils.
Oh man, this case that I'm working with now has glass on both sides.
Oh,
Has glass on. It wasn't.
I know.
I'm going to be real honest with the audience. I was looking to build a computer from some parts that were lying around. One of our writers here locally reviewed this case a few weeks ago. The company doesn't want the case back. It would cost more in shipping to ship these things back than it would for them than it's worth. So
plus you've likely built a computer in it to test it.
Yes. Oh, definitely. But people could take it out. So anyway, so I drove by his house, and it's like, here, take this case, and I was like, this thing is like 40 pounds empty, and it's got glass panels on both sides. However, it's got a lot going for it. It's just that, like, you really got to put the effort in for your build, because it has like these doors and straps and all kinds of stuff to try and like tame the cables on the back so it doesn't look so bad. So you can't really see what's going on. But yeah, it's I mean, I don't know why they have to have a glass panel on the other side.
Right.
What I do think is kind of cool, though, that this case, which by the way I'm going to say we have a review of, is the Leanne Lee Landpool 3, is that the panels open. There's no screws for the panels. You you hit a lever and they just kind of pop open. Ooh. And you kind of fold them back.
That's interesting.
However, so that's kind of interesting. Although I wish the back one was just metal and did that instead of being.
Right.
So anyway, that's the whole spiel. Anyway, now we can get to having a show, but.
Mine was the Roswell Cullinan, Cullinan. That was the one that had the glass on both sides. It was 800 pounds. You put it in place, and you never wanted to touch it again because it was as heavy as a sun.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm just trying to get this the way that I really like it now, because I don't want to, once I close it, I don't want to open it ever again.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
so,
Totally understood.
that's, now I will say one final thing. I'm going to be doing a lot of PC builds. Well, I'm going to be doing more PC builds in the near future, and um, not just for learning things at work, but also because we are going to be doing more builds for this charity I'm involved
That's
with,
awesome.
including you. Every time we can rustle up some spare parts or whatever, I'm going to take a case that nobody wants, whatever, some RAM, motherboard. I'm going to try to build something because that could go to a kid who needs it to learn. So
Yeah, that's great. I love that. I'm glad that you guys are doing that. Before we get
yeah,
started, real quick, if you're in the Tampa area, Strike is open. We had our first week open this week. It was a ton of fun. I worked from there a couple days this week. We had people come in. We had people pay to play games. It's working. Yay! So if you're in the Tampa area, University Square Mall, come check us out. It's a lot of fun. It's a really fun space. Good atmosphere. So definitely come check us out Tuesday through Saturday, noon to 7. And with that, let's get to some news. This week's Nifty Gifties and F5 Live is proudly powered by the Microsoft Store. Whether you're looking for a new laptop, a tablet, an Xbox, games, or a whole lot more, you can get them at the Microsoft Store. And remember that current students, faculty, parents, and active military can save up to 10% off almost everything. To browse the products and learn more about the discounts, you can go to f5live.tv/Microsoft. All right. We are going to be talking about several of these sponsors tonight in different places. So let's start tonight by talking about Amazon and its acquisition spree it's currently on, in particular, the newest acquisition that was announced this week of iRobot. No, Will Smith is not involved in this one. There will be no slaps involved. Instead, this is the iRobot that makes the Roomba. Generally, an acquisition like this would not be overly interesting to me. A company with a robotics division with a creepy little roly robot buying another robotics company is generally not that interesting. The difference is that Roomba has a lot of information about you, and in particular your house, which has some red flags up. So in the early days of the Roomba, it was basically like a bat just hoping that it didn't run into something. And oftentimes it would run into walls and back up and spin around and go off in a random direction. But now these things know the full layout of your house. They know the difference between walls and furniture. They've got a lot of information. They even use AI to determine, based on structure, that this is a kitchen and this is a living room, even if you never go in and tell it that's what it is, which you can. You can confirm its suspicions. But there's a lot of concern surrounding Amazon now having access to this data describing the internal layout of your house. Sure, this isn't the first access that they have, right? They've got their Ring division, which has security cameras and stuff, which could map your house. But in this case, they're purchasing the data. People own these devices, maybe because they didn't want Amazon involved, and now they are. It's an interesting situation to all of a sudden have a new company have access to your house layout. Like, for you, Avram, I know you are not a fan of the digital assistant speakers and things like that because you don't want companies inside your house.
Although we do have them, I'm just not a fan.
I know. I know. But here you've got, an interesting difference in that, people didn't sign up to be part of the Amazon ecosystem, and now they are.
I mean, yeah, it's troubling. I mean, on the other hand, I don't know if is Amazon worse with your data than iRobot? I don't know,
True.
right? Like we're assuming. I mean, I don't know that this is the worst invasion of privacy that Amazon is
Sure.
involved in, or
Hey,
I shouldn't even say Amazon's involved in. It's not necessarily Amazon's fault per se. It's that people keep buying stuff that gives Amazon more and more and more access, and or
sure.
Google more and more and more access to their life,
Or
and
any other
so
number of companies. We're not going to pick on those two companies in particular.
no,
There's lots
no,
of companies
fair, fair,
that make products that give weird
fair enough.
access.
I guess I'm just
But these
I
two
guess I'm just thinking of the assistants there.
these two in particular, right, are high
Yeah,
profile. They've both had concerns with privacy. Google famously, and Amazon with Ring in particular. Giving up
right.
video data without warrants to police and things like that.
Right. So, I mean, there's now what could the iRobot do? I mean, obviously, it's going to have a map of your home. So, okay. I mean, I guess it'll know where your furniture is. But I mean, most people's homes have floor plans that are public record. So, knowing
True.
the rooms of the house is not hard to information for anyone to get. Knowing where their furniture is now. I mean, could it be used to say your house is a mess? I mean, yeah, I'd be embarrassed about that one. That they would find the amount of toys and stuff that were on the floor. But I don't even know if that would. I mean, I guess it detected that there are objects in its way, but it doesn't have a camera, so I don't know if it would know what the objects were. I
I don't
mean,
know if that's true.
oh, it does have a camera.
I think it has a full Connect built in. Based on what I've seen, there I'm gonna be honest with you. One of the reasons this topic is here tonight is because Prime Day ended up putting one in my living room.
Right.
and and I have there we've got an unboxing video that we'll be publishing soon. But it's when you look at the front array of this thing, and granted, I have, as I tend to do, I go big or I don't go at all. So this is I think they've stolen all their names from Intel. I think it's the i7. So it's one of the higher end ones, but it looks like it's got a full Connect like sensor array across the front of it. It looks like it might have several cameras, including an infrared. And I'll tell you, the scans that it makes are incredibly detailed. So for sure it has LiDAR. I know that. But it looks like it's got several cameras across the front. Now, what kind are they? Are they just infrared? Are they looking for dots? Are they, infrared dots? What are they doing? I don't know. But it does look like there are cameras across the front. Are you looking up tech specs?
No,
Okay.
I don't know if we really know if it has, but I think the thing is, yeah. I mean, there's obviously concerns. But the amount of stuff that people allow in their homes really is a limit to privacy. And I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I think it is of some concern because who knows where that data could eventually end up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know. Could it be that somebody is involved in like a child custody case and is like, I'm sorry, but you can see this other parent is a total slob because the Roomba says that they're always picking up dirt, or there's always, well, not always, that there's stuff all over the floor. The fact that it's picking up dirt is actually probably a good thing because that means that you have a vacuum running. But
Fair.
you know, but yeah, I mean, I would definitely be concerned about the uses of this data, um, what it could be. used for, or hey, could they be sharing that with your home insurance provider?
Sure.
Like, oh yeah, look, their house is a total mess. You should charge them. It's unsafe. I don't know. Uh, Raise the premium. I, I don't know exactly where it ends up, but I just always worry about stuff that's being shared,
Hmm.
perhaps with other companies, the government, other individuals who might be able to use it against me in some way. So
Right. And when you take into consideration some of the other acquisitions, right? Like the healthcare company that they just purchased a couple weeks ago, which may or may not go through. That one obviously is going to be subject to some pretty severe governmental scrutiny. But, when you start looking at all these things that all produce a lot of interesting and personal data, it starts to become a problem. And I'm not saying Amazon evil, stop using, or anything like that, right? I use them a lot. We're going to mention them in a couple of segments. But but anytime an organization of any stripe starts to pull together these weird disparate bits and pieces, like the healthcare company, that one's a weird acquisition, and it has a lot of data implications. This one is a little bit more of a reasonable acquisition for a company that's already got a product that is a home robot, right? It makes sense for them to want to acquire iRobot, possibly the biggest company in the home robotics space is iRobot. So that makes sense to
yep,
bring in some of the biggest expertise, but there's also a lot of data that comes with it. Are they going to be using that to monetize you, right? Because that's always one of the questions. Are they going to be selling information about your home in some way, shape, or form? Who knows? It's all strange when all this data
yep.
starts to come together. So I don't know. Maybe absolutely nothing will come of it. Maybe it gets stepped on. Probably not. They are doing a lot of big data based acquisitions, and there's already an investigation into them over data, in particular the seller information, using it to build their own white label products. So maybe there will be extra scrutiny here. Certainly on the medical side, there's going to be, because anytime there's a medical acquisition, I mean, Caremark and CVS were both medical companies, and there was a huge amount of scrutiny there. So who knows? We'll definitely keep an eye on it. But I guess we will have an unboxing video of one of these up soon. So use it as a little bit of a promo. Oh, I have to remember how to do our show. There we go. This week's Piltch Point with Avram Piltch is proudly powered by PureVPN. The best way to protect your privacy online is with PureVPN. You can hide your online activities, say goodbye to regional restrictions, and improve your streaming quality. Plus, it's available for almost all of your devices. You can get a special price right now and a 31-day money-back guarantee by going to piltchpoint.live/PureVPN. All right, Avram, you've been working on some stuff. What have you got for us this week?
So this, even though we are now seeing the price of gas go down a bit, this is still a time where money is tight all over, and folks want ways to save money. And we've been thinking about at Tom's Hardware small upgrades that a person can do that will make a really noticeable difference in their tech life. So if you've got that feeling like, man, I just want to improve my tech life, I want to make a change to it for the better, but I only have $50 or so to spend. What changes can I make to my tech life? What little small products can I buy that will have a nice impact on my day to day? So we have so we'll be coming out with a list of 50 low cost upgrades and low cost accessories. But here are some of the things that I recommend. Uh, for one, if folks were with us at the beginning of the show, I was talking about keycaps. And if you like your keyboard, and you should like your keyboard and have a nice typing experience, um, you can buy new keycaps and change kind of the look and feel. Now, a lot of keycaps are more than $50, to be really honest with you. However, you can find some nice ones for under that amount. So these keys, uh, share my screen for a second. These keycaps are only um, are only $47 on Amazon. So not they're from supposedly from HiKit, but this is the other color of them. Here we go. So you can really make a nice change to your keyboard. But you can also change your typing experience with new key switches, which are if you have a swappable keyboard, or you can even get a mechanical keyboard. Here, for example, is a mechanical keyboard. This is quite a deal, I will say. I usually don't see something of this quality brand for less than $40, but here's an EVGA mechanical keyboard, which uses Kale speed bronze switches, which are nice switches. They're nice, clicky, but really fast switches. I used them for a while, and hot swappable and RGB for $40. But if this is no longer on sale, well, this isn't even a sale. If this is no longer available at the time you're shopping, you can find other mechanical keyboards for under $50, and that will really change the game. But looking around your desk, another thing that you might want is what happened to it? A wrist rest. So love this wrist rest. I have one of these at home that I use right now. Really changes. This is only $20, a HyperX wrist rest. It's just super comfortable. Really improves my comfort at my desk every day. Another thing that I have at my desk that's really important to me for saving is something that saves me space, which is a headphone holder. So I thought I had it up, but I will show. I get one that attaches to your desk like these. This is one I have. So you don't even have to take up desk space, and you can hang one or two headphones up and save space, and that's only going to cost you $20. Now, if you're looking at the inside of your computer, you could make some nice upgrades there too for under $50. So let's say you've got a desktop and it connects by Wi-Fi. You can upgrade yourself to the latest Wi-Fi standard 6E for just $32. Getting a highly rated card. You can also get more SSD storage. Now, I wouldn't recommend a lot of sub $50 SSDs as your main drive, but if you are looking to, let's say you've got a terabyte SSD as your main SSD, or you've got a 500 gigabytes as your main SSD, and you just want a little bit more space for data storage, you can get a 500 gigabyte SSD for well under $50, and that will give you some more space. You can also, for about $70, get a 1 terabyte SSD. So not bad. Another thing you can do is you can upgrade. This one I'm looking at here is $65, but you can find colorful RGB fans for your case for less than $50. Also, perhaps more importantly, you can upgrade your RAM very very affordably. So you can get, for less than $50, you can get two 8 GB sticks of DDR4 memory, and that will give you 16. So if you have some empty memory slots and you already have 16, this will take you to 32, which is a nice number to have. And that's under $50. Another thing that is a good use of your money under $50 is upgrading the charger for your laptop. If you've got a laptop and your laptop charges over USB-C, you can get a really low cost, a really tiny charger. This one here I'm looking at is an Anchor, which right now is just under $50, but you could find other brands that are a little less well known than Anchor for less, and you can have a really tiny charger that you carry with you. Finally, another thing that you can always do to improve your tech life for under $50 is you can get a USB hub, and in particular, I really like my USB hub here, which is a Sabrent, which is this one here, Sabrent 7-port hub. And what I like about it is that it has on-off switches for all of the ports. So you can, let's say you've got headphones and a speaker plugged in, and it's annoying because Windows tends to give priority to the headphones when you want the speaker. You can just hit the buttons and turn off the other one. Or if you've got something like an Arduino board or a Raspberry Pi that needs to be turned on and off, but it doesn't have an on-off switch and it's powered over USB. Actually, it wouldn't power a whole Raspberry Pi off this, but you would a Raspberry Pi Pico. So you can do that. So there's a lot you can do to upgrade your tech experience at your desk and inside your computer for less than $50. And we will have a complete article up about this week, but I thought I would share some of these ideas. And I'm curious if anyone in the chat room has things that they recommend for less than $50 that would really upgrade your tech life.
That's a good question. I'll tell you, the headphone stand is a big one for me. I went a little different simply because of the layout of my office, and the headphones that I use are they changed the name of the company. It's now just Shocks instead of Aftershocks. So I've got a hook on my wall that I hang them on. But yeah, having a place to put your headphones is worth every penny of.
Now, I gotta point out, you can get the desk ones. Mm-hmm. I don't. This is one that my wife got me because I thought that I hinted to her that I wanted one of these for Christmas, and to be honest, I really don't like it. So,
does that have a USB hub built into it?
No, it's just power.
Okay.
It's a charger.
Okay.
So if it were a hub, it would be a little more useful, and it's a little too small for whatever. But my takeaway to the audience for this is there's some nicer looking desk ones, but I recommend one that hangs off the table if you have access to the side, or hangs on the wall, because this is just eating up desk space, and it's going to eat up desk space in a way that's not great because you might put it in front of your monitor or something. So having one that's a little bit less obtrusive, I think, is better.
Yeah. And as far as, and I know this is going to sound a little counterintuitive, but last time I was there, they had them, and I've tried it, and it's a pretty good quality. Believe it or not, Five Below has one. Has a headphone stand, the attached to the desk kind. And it works really well.
It doesn't need, those are not major brands. I mean,
right.
I feel like this is the kind of thing that if you had the right springs, you could probably 3D print the plastic parts, but that's always the catch with 3D printing stuff. It's like, yeah, the plastic part you can make, but then you still need the the metal, which you can't 3D print. So
Right. Yeah, for sure. There are Thingiverse. There are files for them though.
I'm sure there are. Um, so yeah, I mean that's so anyway. Yes, it's easy to keep organized, and these little things can make a big difference. I mean, when I got that USB hub, it made a big difference for me. Typing on new keycaps that I really enjoy is I'm touching those keycaps every day now.
All the time.
So think of the things that affect your workspace every day.
You know, we've been talking about keycaps for so long, and you and Alante have had long conversations on and off air about them. I've only ever switched two keycaps, and it's the control keys on my main computer out in mission control, and it's only because they're Portal keycaps that were given to me to match my set. It's definitely something like, so we've been going through keyboards for Strike, and we've got several models. We've been testing this and that, and I'm getting it.
I mean,
I
the thing
definitely
is,
get it.
the thing is, regular gaming keyboards or regular mechanical keyboards don't really encourage you too much to. I mean, you can change the keycaps, no one's stopping you, but they once you get into sort of higher end keyboards or building your own or hot swapping the switches or whatever, that's when you say, oh hey, I'd really like the keycaps to be nice. Man, there's some wonderful keycaps out there that are like $120 for a set, and they I can't justify paying that right now, but the it I mean, it's a hobby. You can really get into the keycaps, the key switches, even the lubricant that you use on if you're lubricating your switches and things like that. So and it's a hobby that's really, I think, look, you're typing on the keyboard every day, so you might as well do things to enjoy it, right?
Sure. Makes sense to me. Well, I definitely look forward to seeing all of the recommendations when the article gets published. It really is a great point. There are a lot of small things that you can do to really change your experience. For me, the mouse can be a big sticking point. Obviously, a good mouse is going to be over 50.
Yeah, that's why I didn't mention it. But I mean, you can do better. I still
Sure,
love
that's what I was going to say.
I still love my MX Master. That's about $90. But
Right.
yeah, you can definitely do better than the minimum if you're going to spend up to $50.
Certainly. And I'll tell you, you can even do pretty well for small, like, especially if you're dealing with a mouse that came with your computer, right? Your company issues you a laptop. It comes with that horrible Dell or HP nothing mouse that's
Oh no.
right? Right? That's not
Oh
comfortable.
no. Yeah.
It doesn't work real well. They're horrible. I'll tell you, I've got a set of the EXA ones, which we'll talk about in just a minute, that just came this week. Ooh, they were like they retail for like $18, and for an $18 mouse, they are unbelievable. So, and especially compared to the garbage that comes with your laptop or your desktop that cost them 17 cents to make.
Yeah, the
It's a cheap
pack-ins. I mean,
investment.
the pack-ins are bad, and also usually if you're working at an office and they give you the keyboard or mouse to use, it's probably horrible. I mean, the first day that we opened up the office. I think they opened up a new office for a company in October after. No, I think it was November. I think November after it, we had been closed for a long time and moved to a new building and whatever. And the first day, I'm like, I'm bringing my wrist rest, I'm bringing my keyboard, and I'm bringing my mouse.
Yep, absolutely. You and I both work in tech-focused fields, and both of us were given just the out-of-the-box stuff. I did the exact same thing. The stuff that I was sent, I've used almost nothing other than the computer itself.
Well, yeah. I mean, listen, you could have a whole show on this, but corporate IT stuff, they're going to give you the cheapest stuff that they can, and they don't care. No company, I'm not just talking about no company wants to be like, yeah, here, have a beautiful mechanical keyboard and a lovely mouse and whatever. They're going to be like, look, we have to supply these to hundreds of people, so here's your here's your $10 mouse and your $10 keyboard.
Right, exactly. I was annoyed. I was given an expensive Bluetooth headset that I have never used, because why would I? I've got my wonderful Aftershocks. I was like, you could have given me a better keyboard or something. Whatever. I've got mine. It's all good. So this is going to publish this week?
Yes.
Excellent. Look forward to seeing it. And as always, I look forward to what we talk about next time. This week's Extra Life on F5 Live is proudly powered by Exa. Exa brings the latest technology to gamers, offering the most immersive products for the ultimate gaming experience. They've got headphones with ENC tech, the latest Bluetooth 5.0, 7.1 surround, plus features like dual mics and low latency. They've got mice, like we were just talking about a few minutes ago, and the best part of it all is that they won't break the bank. They've got accessories for Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, and PC. And to learn more about the headsets and mice that are available and any current promotions that are going on, you can go to f5live.tv/Exa. Let's talk about NFTs in gaming, because that's always a popular topic. Nope. Generally, NFTs are a negative topic for most people, and in the gaming world, even more so. So, it only makes sense that GameStop would once again misunderstand the gaming community and combine all of these things into a new offering, which is essentially an NFT marketplace for gamers. They have not done great in it so far. Some of the internal revenue numbers that we're hearing have not been terrific, but more importantly, controversy came along with the launch of this platform, as it tends to when it comes to new NFT marketplaces. This one comes in the form of stolen content. Now, we have talked a lot in the past about the problems with NFTs and the fact that they don't actually grant you ownership. They're essentially a certificate of authenticity, which has no guarantee of being authentic itself. And that's what happened here. There is a collection whose name, the Nifty Arcade, that was listed on the new GameStop NFT marketplace. And the Nifty Arcade had playable HTML5 games. So there's 2 episodes in a row. We've talked about HTML5 gaming, Avram. What sets these apart is that they are playable in the NFT, meaning in your wallet or on the GameStop NFT marketplace itself, you can play the games. The problem is the games that were minted and sold as NFTs weren't owned by the person who minted and sold the NFTs. If this sounds familiar, it's because it is. There is a platform just a matter of 6 or 8 weeks ago called HitPiece that caused a lot of controversy because they were like the go-to place for buying and selling NFTs that had nothing to do with anything. You could go buy an NFT of Patton Oswalt's stand-up. I use his as an example because it was such a big deal that Twitter sent me a push notification, despite the fact I don't follow him, that his stand-up had been stolen minted as NFTs, and sold for an exorbitant amount of money. And since it was stolen, he didn't see a penny of it. Same thing here. These are indie games that were minted as NFTs by somebody else. None of the money went to them. Granted, it's come down. It's not listed on the GameStop marketplace anymore, right? Which is important. HitPiece didn't do that. They didn't pull the listings. They didn't suspend or ban the user. GameStop has done both of those things, but blockchain technology doesn't care about any of that, right? That's the issue with these NFTs. Once it's in the blockchain, it's in the blockchain, right? So what's the recourse here?
Yeah.
Who's the person who did it? Who knows? They were paid in Ethereum. Where does it exist? Who owns it right now? Who knows? It's done in Ethereum. Can they take it down? No, because it's in the blockchain. That's a fundamental issue, I think.
Well, the fundamental issue is, why is anybody buying these?
Well, that's a weird cultural issue. Why did anybody buy Beanie Babies? I don't know.
This is an interesting point you bring up.
At least you have the thing.
At least you have the thing. On the other hand, if you're a real collector of things, the amount in which you get to interact with the thing is somewhat limited, in the sense that if you're a very serious collector of
the Funko
toys,
Pops, the Funko Pops never come out of the box.
You leave the Funko. That's exactly what I was going to say. You leave the Funko Pop in the box. No, I take mine out of the box because I rather look at them. But people who are really serious about this, they treat it as an investment and they leave it in the box. So,
and you're making those people happier because their value is going up for each one of us that opens the box.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll spread their happiness. It's not like I buy so many Funko Pops that I now have no room for more Funko Pops anyway. I need a bigger house. But yeah, it's what's to say about it? I mean, you really need to it's foolhardy to buy an NFT. I agree with Bill Gates, who said that NFTs are based on the bigger fool theory. I don't get it, but I really want to encourage everyone. There's a YouTube channel that I absolutely love where there's a lawyer who kind of goes through issues of the day. It's called Legal Eagle. And Legal Eagle did a really detailed video in April on why NFTs are legally problematic, and really kind of pointing out that there's no standard of what ownership means. So there was, I think he was talking about there was something on the NBA had a website where you could pay to own a slam dunk or something like that, but all it really allowed you to do was play the video, and on their portal you couldn't take the video and put it somewhere else or do something else with it. So there's no standard of what ownership actually means.
Yeah.
And that you need, in this digital world, we already know that things that you quote unquote own can disappear from you quite quickly.
Yep. Or as we talked
a
about,
book that gets withdrawn.
Or as we talked about last week, it could change out from under you.
Yes, exactly. It could change out from under you. So in other words, but you're getting yourself even more involved in that by buying an NFT. Look, I say that I have this artwork, but I just have bragging rights. Listen,
I feel like that's what NFTs are. They are bragging rights and nothing else. Look, I have this NFT. What does it mean? Don't worry about it.
Right. So, listen, if you have so much money, disposable income, that you can spend it on bragging rights, I have some ideas for you. I have some ideas of things you could buy for yourself that would probably be more useful to you, like some of the $50 upgrades we just talked about.
Sure.
And I'm sure most NFTs are more than $50. And I, and if that's not, and if you have it all, then give something to charity or something. I can recommend a charity.
Yeah.
Do you know, this is a complete waste, or invest in your retirement or something. This is a complete waste of money.
Invest in a business. Invest in a community center. Invest in something more interesting than a procedurally generated digital ape. I'm going to continue to poke fun at that one, because that one's been the most successful nothing I've seen in a while.
I mean, this is sort of like, do you remember they used to have on VH1, like, I love the 80s, I love the 90s. If they were doing that about the 2020s, they'd be like, remember NFTs? People actually spent money to say that they own something that they didn't own. That's how this is going to be remembered, because I don't see it lasting. Cryptocurrency, I could see cryptocurrency lasting. I'm not saying it's a great idea or it's working real well, but there's some purpose to it. The NFTs, there's no purpose.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, if ownership meant ownership, which in the digital world it can't, maybe, right? Because people own paintings. If there was a way for there to be just one of a thing, okay, maybe. If it was actual artwork and not procedurally generated nothings, maybe. But even then, it's going to be precarious. But the reality of it all, the fact that the procedurally generated nothing can then be copied, screenshotted, shared, whatever, who cares? It doesn't make a bit of sense to me. The whole NFT thing is absolutely annoying to me, which is the reason why we keep talking about it. And I apologize to you for that. We keep talking about it because it annoys me to absolutely no end. So, and chances are this won't be the last time, but for now, GameStop has gotten themselves into more weirdness, trying so hard to keep their lights on and falling over themselves in their attempts. So this week's news from the tubes and F5 Live is proudly powered by Malwarebytes. Whether you use a PC, a Mac, or a mobile device, Malwarebytes Premium is the company's strongest protection ever. It fights threats that traditional antivirus software can't stop, plus normal things like dialers, trojans, rootkits, bots, and a whole lot more. It allows you to use your computer and mobile device with confidence and peace of mind. To learn more and to get a special price, you can go to f5live.tv/malwarebytes. Speaking of privacy and security when you're online, we know that it's a dangerous world. Some people are trying to scam you with fake NFTs. Some people are trying to install ransomware on your computer. And then there's the trackers. We have our love-hate relationship with some of these. Obviously, the idea of the personalized ads appeals to and doesn't appeal to different people differently. There are other reasons to track people, some more nefarious, which is where DuckDuckGo's tracking protection originally came from, was trying to protect you from the truly malicious ones. It has grown as customer demand has risen to also protect you against the big tech companies. The only exception to that has been Microsoft. The reason is because Microsoft Bing has powered the private search results within DuckDuckGo, but apparently that relationship has come to an end. And so the licensing has changed, and now those tracking scripts will also be blocked by DuckDuckGo on their mobile and desktop browsers, which is an interesting move considering Microsoft still provides advertising for DuckDuckGo. And a special set of scripts will be used in those cases that prevent the creation of a user profile through Microsoft and their advertising platform, giving you all the same protections that you get from Google and Facebook and Amazon and all of the other tracking code that's out there. It's an interesting move, and Microsoft has promised that they won't try to circumvent it, likely because they want to continue to be the advertising provider for the platform. You know, between DuckDuckGo, which, by the way, I heard a radio ad for today, which was a surprise. Between DuckDuckGo and Brave, you know, they're really trying to make a play for that privacy space, which I think is a space that's going to continue to grow as, you know, new things come out about Facebook and people stop trusting them. And, you know, it looks like this space is growing. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, look, people want a trustworthy source. DuckDuckGo hasn't done anything to damage their reputation, as far as I know.
There was something a couple of weeks ago. I don't remember what it was, but I don't think it was a big deal, but it was something that got people questioning what was up. It might have even been this. I don't remember. Like, it might have been people realizing that they weren't blocking Microsoft, LinkedIn, and Bing stuff. Maybe. I don't know. I don't remember now. I just remember seeing them in the headlines for not a positive reason. But whatever it wasn't a big deal because it didn't stick in my head.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think it's great. I mean, this DuckDuckGo is the default search engine for Raspberry Pis. You know, if you install a Raspberry Pi and you open the browser in it, which is Chromium by default, it gives you DuckDuckGo as your search engine.
It also is for the Tor browser.
Yeah. So, I believe that these organizations wouldn't choose DuckDuckGo if it was a nefarious engine.
And
I'd like to see
if they changed, like if something came to light, I feel like they would switch in a heartbeat. Right, all of a sudden, like overnight, Brave search is the default. You know what I mean? Just boom.
Right. So I mean, I'd like to see a real. With all due respect to Microsoft, I'd like to see a real, more trustworthy alternative.
Yeah, something that's
out
different
there in the search space. Something that's different. That's more. I don't know. That's. I mean, not that Google is reputable for giving you really good results, but it would be nice to see something that was a little less corporate. Now, the fact that they have advertising money suggests maybe DuckDuckGo it's a little corporate, but who knows?
Mayhaps. It definitely is interesting. I've been using off and on. I think our regular listeners and viewers know that Bing has been my default for a while because when it comes to Microsoft technology searches, it is obviously going to be great results. But I've been messing around with both Brave and DuckDuckGo for search, and I'm really impressed by their results. I like Brave's search results a lot. I like the non-stacked search results of DuckDuckGo, though, and the familiar look and feel to it. Brave has, like, categories of results, which makes it a little more of a change. But DuckDuckGo, I mean, it looks just like the results for Ging. All right, yeah, for Ging. We'll just combine the two companies into one. For Google search and Bing, DuckDuckGo's search results look and feel very similar. So it's visually not that big of a paradigm shift like it is for Brave. But I like Brave's search results a lot. I like the way the back end works on it, which I know is not all that important for consumers, but from a development standpoint, the way their back end works is really interesting. So I've been exploring it. It's an interesting space.
Cool.
I even started to look into how they index just to see if I could experiment, right? If they're going to start growing, and both of their search positions have grown over the last quarter. So if they're going to grow a little bit, maybe I can see what happens to bump up indexing. So I've been messing around with both of them a lot. They're both interesting organizations, and I do hope that there is a different approach, right? This is both of them have a different approach to how search works and how the platform stays in business than Google or Microsoft or Yahoo, or are there any others at this point? I don't know. Ask Jeeves is long dead, probably. It's probably powered by Bing search anyway at this point, if it does exist.
Doesn't Alta Vista still exist? I don't know if it's actually uses their own.
Almost certainly they're powered by somebody else under the hood. There's been rumors that Apple has been working on their own
it's
search.
actually Yahoo.
Oh, it's Yahoo? That's interesting, because I think Yahoo at least was powered by Bing for a while. Anyway.
Okay, Lyco still exists.
Okay. How about Dogpile? Anyway. Having some competition in the space, I think, is a good thing. When Bing started to climb up the charts before, tripping and falling off of a cliff, Google was starting to do some stuff because Bing had their things coming up. So competition in any space is good. So be nice to see something different in there. I'm going to continue messing around with them. Maybe do a deep dive video at some point into both of them. But for now, the last of the oddities has been eliminated from DuckDuckGo, which I think, consistency across the board I think is important. So it shows that they are trying to both play ball, right? Because they got to keep the lights on. They're playing ball a little bit in the space, but they're also at this point, standing firm on their convictions, which I think goes to their corporate or their organizational. What did you say before? I don't remember what the word was, but kind of their consistency. It goes to show that they are trustworthy. That's what I was going for. Their organizational trustworthiness. So pretty cool. And this week's DRM Not Included on F5 Live is proudly powered by Amazon Prime. You get free shipping on millions of products, but that isn't all. You also get free music with Amazon Prime Music, free TV, movies, and documentaries with Amazon Prime Video, free games, and a free Twitch subscription to support the content creator of your choice with Amazon Prime Gaming, and a whole lot more. We've got links to these features, plus a 30-day free trial if you're not a member, the ability to give it as a gift, and some of our other favorite features, all by going to f5live.tv/prime. Now, this story started around the time that we were ending our last episode, which happened to be on Tuesday. The rumblings were just starting as we were coming off the air, and that is that the Batgirl film has been canceled. Now, that's not necessarily a big deal conceptually, right? Films are canceled all the time. There's writing issues or behind-the-scenes production problems or whatever. The thing that's different here is the movie's done. It's filmed, edited, produced, a soundtrack. They put it in front of test audiences. And they've canceled it after that. They decided not even to release it to streaming, which, I mean, in the old days, that would have been well, we don't care about this, so we'll put it on streaming. Now, streaming's a more respected medium than it was in the early days, so that's not the, straight to DVD kiss of death, Aladdin 12 kind of kind of film. But they
Right.
didn't even they did decide not even to put it to streaming. It's just gone. So I've got two possibilities here. One, it was so bad that everybody was embarrassed by it, which I can't imagine is the case because Michael Keaton is in it. The other
Right.
side is the new overlords of DC, Warner Brothers Discovery, are going in a new direction, which they have said with the DC world, which explains the end of the Arrowverse, and could explain this. Maybe they're like, you know what? It wasn't good enough to release to the theaters like we had planned. Maybe this is the line we draw in the sand, and we're replanning DC from here to try and compete directly with Marvel. That's my current theory, because they have said that they want to kind of replan what's happening with DC in the multimedia landscape. Maybe they're trying to do a Marvel type thing and not have the CW be completely unrelated to the films.
So I've thought about this a lot over the last few days. I don't know why I thought about it a lot. There's more important things in the world. I've read about it a lot. It seems, first of all, it seems that the test audiences did like it, or at least that was one of the things that I read.
Okay.
The test audiences did like it.
So I read like 6 things about the audiences, and it was like 4 and 2 against. So the information was inconsistent.
Who knows? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Who knows? But here's the other thing, right? So I don't. Yes, what they would like us to say is, wow, this new sheriff in town, they're trying to, make it more like Marvel, and no one can argue with the success and even the overall quality of the Marvel effort. I mean, we don't love everything as much as everything else.
Sure. For every Captain
Eternals.
Marvel, there's 3 Captain Americas.
So I mean, not every, there's Thor: The Dark World, there's the Eternals, there's some movies that just weren't the best Marvel, but still the overall offering.
When you throw this much stuff at the wall, something's not going to stick.
Right. But they've done a good job overall, and I think from a business perspective, they've done a great job because they're making money. They're making a lot of money on this. Everything is a success, right? So unlike WB with DC, and frankly, WB has the IP. Like, they've got great characters, great stuff, but they're not doing it right. But here's the thing: they don't need. What they actually were doing right as DC is not. When they tried to have a central plan, that's when it didn't work, right? Like when they tried to make everything the Zack Snyderverse, that didn't work. By the way, aside from Disney with Marvel, who has made the shared universe thing work really well? I mean,
True.
Where? Who has done it? Like the Universal Monsters were supposed to be a shared universe, didn't work. They gave up after like one movie.
That whole thing, by the way, is getting rebooted.
What, the Universal Monsters?
Yep, they're going to try it again. There's a whole.
I mean, I like that.
There's a whole land at Epic Universe. Epic Universe, the third gate at Universal Studios Orlando, that's supposed to open now in 2025, I think. That's dedicated to it. So they've got to make it work if they're dedicating space to it.
I don't know. I mean, they could just dedicate space to the original shared universe, Universal monster movies, which may never be topped. But anyway, I say this as someone who on my vacation went to like the House of Frankenstein Wax Museum, which is all kinds of Bride of Frankenstein,
Nice.
Dracula stuff. And it was cool. Anyway, so what DC has done well actually is they've had movies that weren't specifically, or even if they were part of the shared universe, they had their own identity.
Uh-huh.
Like, like for example, Shazam,
Mhm.
or Aquaman was okay, but it's commercially successful. Or the Harley Quinn movie, um,
Mhm.
right? Like those were, or the Joker movie, right? Like that's not part of the same universe. Or
True.
the most recent Batman movie with Robert Pattinson, right? Like that did
Right.
well. A lot of people liked it. So having and and then what are they going to do? Are they going to also cancel? I mean, isn't there supposed to be an upcoming season of Titans? Are they going to cancel that too? Are they gonna replace Nightwing with Big Ed from 90 Day Fiance because it's run by Discovery Channel? I mean, they this is a really this is they've had all kinds of different stuff that's not related to the other stuff, and some
Yeah.
of it is quite good. And so this is a lame excuse. I don't know what their problem is. I think one of the things is that they can take a tax write off if they never release it. So, so like they can actually make money by not like they cannot release it at all. They cannot. They can take a tax. You'll notice they also actually pulled some shows from HBO Max that were HBO Max originals that had been out for
Uh-huh.
2 or 3 years.
Yep.
And you might be saying, well, those shows are out
I
already.
think I think 8 of them got pulled.
Right. So this is a tax write off. And by the way, it ought to be against the law because it's equivalent to burning down your restaurant to collect the insurance money.
Right.
Uh, is what it is. They amortize. What they can do is they can amortize those movies. So okay, like I'm sorry, we lost it. We pulled it off of streaming. So now we can take a tax break for the next 2 more years or something on it.
Right.
So, uh, but a tax system that incentivizes people to throw existing work into the garbage
Mhm.
can is obviously not. I mean, that's not a good use of our tax dollars
Right.
because when someone takes the tax break, that means the rest of us are paying for it. So all of us are paying for their tax write for Warner Brothers or Discovery's tax write off on Batgirl, and we don't even get to see the movie.
Right.
So, uh, so it's completely bogus. I mean, I think that um, the the new CEO has somewhat of a reputation of being, uh, not very friendly to diversity and diverse hires and things like that. So maybe he didn't like the fact that this is a non-white Batgirl, and I don't know, but I don't know what he's thinking, but. But this is first of all, this is just really going to blow up in their face. This is not a good public relations move at all.
Mhm.
Like even if it were bad, a bad movie, this would not be a good public relations move at all. Because what happens then is what you're saying is to the artists. First of all, we hate you. Why
Yeah.
would you if you were an artist? Would you ever work for this company?
Right.
I mean, I know they got paid. Like, Michael Keaton got his check, and, all those folks got their checks, and they weren't expecting residuals anyway, I guess, because this was supposed to go to streaming. It wasn't supposed to go to the movie theater.
Okay.
It was
Yeah.
commissioned for streaming. So they spent $90 million on this, and they're going to throw it in the garbage can because they claim that it will cost them money to release it, which I don't understand how that is the case. Something about marketing, but if you just put it on HBO Max, I don't see how that's marketing. Part of it also is that they're going to kill HBO Max too, and combine it with
Mhm.
Discovery Channel. So they're trying to turn what was otherwise good IP into Discovery Channel,
Right.
and I think that is a huge mistake. but also no matter what the quality is of the DC movies going forward, that they've sent a message to artists that you shouldn't work with us.
This is going to hang over their heads.
Like the fans, this is a bad taste in the mouth of the fans, but it's also a bad taste in the mouth of the artists. Would you want, and then on top of all of that, they felt it necessary to cancel this film, but no problem with the Flash movie that hasn't come out yet, that where there's huge controversy about the star.
Yeah. Controversy is an understatement.
Now, to be fair, if you were judging, if it were really true that the quality of this movie is so bad, and their only goal is to judge the artistic quality, and the artistic quality of the upcoming Flash movie might be really good if you don't think about the star and what they are doing right now in their private life. But I mean, it seems like there's more controversy around Flash than there's around this. I mean, people could have seen Michael. Think about the talent in this film that is being thrown in the garbage can. Like, I have no idea about Leslie Grace, the star, and whether she's turning a great performance or not. But
she was one of the main characters in the Heights movie, in which she did a fantastic job.
So you got her, you got Michael Keaton reprising his role as Batman. Like, I would tune in just for that.
Right.
I would tune in just to see him put on the cape again.
A great then you've got
Brendan Right. Then you've got Brendan Fraser as the villain. Mm-hmm. And then I think J.K. Simmons was Professor Chief Gordon. So, like, you've got a lot of talent here for something that you're throwing into the garbage can. Like, I think people would see it anyway. Now, legally, they can't show it to you because then they couldn't take it as a tax write-off.
Right. And so on that tax write-off topic, and possibly always knowing that they weren't going to release this, I've got some other information. I didn't include it in the article, but this is from the CEO of Mezco Toys, who would have almost certainly been one of the top licensing partners for this film. He says, so many people have asked me about Batgirl. Here are my thoughts. There's more to this than meets the eye, like we've been talking about. Generally, when a new film is announced, a studio immediately starts licensing. This is especially true for superhero films. Warner Brothers never attempted to license this film. At licensing show in Vegas, there was a very large demand for this, and Warner Brothers kept saying it wasn't available to license. Can you remember any superhero films in the last 5 years without a licensing tie-in? Literally zero. Once it was revealed that Keaton was returning as Batman, the demand for licensing shot through the roof. Yet Warner Brothers declined to license it. It wasn't even teased to theater owners and film buyers, which we knew because it was commissioned for streaming. At CinemaCon, it wasn't even part of their display. So while I don't want to sound all conspiracy theory here, it does seem like Warner Brothers knew all along that this would never be released. I'm reminded of the Fantastic Four film with Roger Corman, which I believe was all about the exact same thing, that it was the film was produced and was decided early on that it wasn't going to be released, but they finished it.
But in those, didn't they have to do that to maintain the rights?
So I don't know what the contract necessarily is, but I know, like, with the Fox and Sony deals with Marvel, they had to release, not produce.
Right, okay. But here's the thing. Oh, yeah, that's a good point. But they don't need to do that because they own it.
Right. we had a whole conversation at Strike the other day about exactly this, and I'm like, and that would make sense, right? If the contract was that they had to produce a film to keep the rights, okay. But in this case, if that was the case, the rights would revert back to them.
Also, you wouldn't spend $90 million on it.
No, you'd spend $18 and just, here you go.
You wouldn't cast. You wouldn't. I mean, there's just something really
Keaton
weird going.
And
right.
get everybody excited about it.
I mean, I feel like there was a point at which someone wanted this movie to come out and be good.
Yeah.
And maybe that point passed even before the merger or whatever. But there was a point at which this was, I mean, they wouldn't have hired the talent that they did if they were just planning to junk it.
The other possibility is that those decisions came entirely from the studio and not from Warner Brothers. It could have been the producers that, here's your check, here's your $60 million budget to produce the film. Spend it as you see fit.
But
it's possible, not highly possible, but it is possible. Like what's his name? I can never think of his name. All I can think of is Happy. The guy who plays Happy in the Batman. Nope, in the Iron Man movies.
In Daredevil. Oh, in Iron Man. Oh, right, Jon Favreau.
Yeah, who is also the director and producer of the Iron Man franchise.
Right.
He had free reign. Here's your check. You do as you do. So it's possible that that's what was done here, possibly because the studio didn't care. Right? Here's your budget. This is what we need to write off. Here's your check. Go produce a film. We don't care. And they didn't know that. And the two of them went off and produced what could potentially be a great film with Warner Brothers never telling them they were never going to care about it. I'm trying to go as conspiracy theory here as possible.
I wonder if there's some kind of a lawsuit that's going to happen over this, because
potentially.
I mean, in that case, look, I'm not an actor and I don't play one on TV, but it's hard for me to imagine that any of the actors involved in this would have made it if they thought it wasn't going to come out.
Right. Because look at the lawsuit.
There are people
look at the lawsuit over Black Widow. That came out and she sued because it came out differently than the contract said.
Yes. Now, I don't know. Maybe in the contract, maybe this contract didn't specify.
Right. Who knows?
I mean, anything about. I mean, if they were smart, they didn't have any rights. But
true.
But just if you're an actor, I think you want your work to be seen.
Yeah,
right?
Especially if you're Michael Keaton, and you're putting on the cape for the first time in decades. I mean, right? You're doing it because you want to be in that character.
Right. Again. This is an Oscar.
And he throws
Oscar
his
caliber
everything into everything he does.
Right. So you have two Oscar caliber actors in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like J.K. Simmons is also an Oscar. I don't know if he won, but he's certainly nominated. Yeah, right.
And he's, even when he's not, he's always a scene stealer.
Right. So you've got like two really high. I mean, you've more than two. You've got several really high quality actors in this. Brendan Fraser, and they're going to be like, I don't think any of them is going to be like, yeah, you know what, you pay. I mean, listen, I'm sure they're glad to get their paycheck, but I doubt that there's anybody out there short of someone who's just not making any money in acting who's like, yeah, I'm going to go and I'm going to act in something that's no one will ever see.
Yeah, and I'll take my $35 and a sandwich and be happy with it.
This is sort of like the computer that I'm building right now, right? It's like if I created a whole bunch of plugged in every RGB light, and then I put a panel on with no glass in it. Right. So no one could see it.
You put a
why would I do
sticker
that?
over the glass?
Yeah. If I markered it over or whatever, but I would know on the inside that, it looks great if only someone could see it. Yeah. I mean, that's
that's the situation we're in here. There's all these people, not just the actors. There's the directors who, based on the way they've responded to what is happening, they put their everything into this.
Oh, the other thing is, could they sue for defamation?
Potentially.
I mean, because if I think the interview with the CEO, he said something like he didn't believe in the movie or something. It wasn't a good movie. Like, that's damaging to their reputation.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
true.
very damaging. That's very damaging to the reputation of the directors.
The fact that Kevin Feige
and possibly of the star
publicly reached out to them might hurt them in a lawsuit. But yeah, there's probably plenty of standing there.
I mean, do they have to prove that they didn't get work because of it? I mean, like,
I don't know.
This is extremely defamatory of their work. Like, he
is.
publicly said that it wasn't. We didn't believe in this movie, so that's why we're not going to release it. We're not going to release something that's not good, which is kind of funny when you see the movies that they have released. So, also, if what they're saying is they want to reboot the whole universe, why are they still coming out with the Flash? Why are they still coming out with Black Adam? Why are they still coming out with the next Shazam? Or are they canceling all of those too?
Right, exactly. Who knows? This is all absolute chaos. Like he said, it feels like this was longer in the making than it looked like. That it wasn't just like a last second, we saw it, we don't believe in it, we're moving on. It does feel like, I mean, if they were actively not licensing it, even after that sounds a red flag.
Very suspicious.
Yeah,
that sounds very suspicious. To me. But I mean, this would be a shockwave, because now if I'm an actor, like, and I'm an A-list actor, I would maybe have something put into the contract that, like, you're going to release this work. Yeah,
the union. I have a feeling the union's going to have something to say about this. Several unions are going to have something to say about this, because there's a lot of people who negotiated their contracts based on residuals, which is exactly what the lawsuit over Black Widow was, right? A lot of people negotiated their contracts based on expected residuals. They took a lower base to get a cut of the box. There's probably residuals involved in this in some way, shape, or form.
How?
There's a mechanism for
DVD release or something.
I do not understand the mathematics behind it. I do know that there is some sort of a mechanism for it. I've tried to understand it and I don't get it. It has something to do with, similar to music streaming. I think it has something to do with a number of unique plays or something like that. I don't know. Bigger than I'm prepared to deal with. It seems massively complicated. I would love to have a Hollywood agent. I'd love to have a Hollywood agent, if there are any listening, reach out and explain how that works. We'd love to have you on the show to explain how residuals in video streaming work. That would be awesome. Anyway, I know that there's some mechanism for it, and so for it to never be released seems, especially with information like this, where it seems like there is a long-term plan not to release it, since apparently before Keaton joined the cast, which would be a huge right, because what he's saying is he tried to license this film before Keaton joined the cast and then tried again after.
Then anyone who joined, if they could get those emails or whatever that was about that, right?
This is going to be a mess.
Yeah.
This is going to make the Black Widow thing look calm by comparison. And that was publicly messy for Marvel and Disney. This is going to make that look calm, I think.
Yes.
We will definitely be following this. I'm going to try and reach out to some friends and see if I can get maybe their agent to come on and explain how the residuals work. That would be pretty cool. So we can understand this better. We talk about it too frequently at this point. I feel like we we and our audience should understand how this mechanism works.
I mean, I would love to know. I would love to know.
I'll see what I can do. I'll reach out to some people. That would be fun. But anyway, we will be keeping an eye on this because I feel like this is far from over. This is going to get way more interesting and way messier over the coming weeks. Well, that is our show. Thank you to those of you who joined us live. We always appreciate it. If you didn't and would like to in the future, Sunday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern, you go to f5live.tv/join us. You can find us on Twitch and YouTube and chat with us in the studio. Give us your feedback on the topics as we talk about them. If you can't do that, that is also okay. PLUGHITZlive.com/subscribe. All of our shows there with all of the ways that you can watch, listen, and follow along. It's good to be back in a normal swing of things. Or a weird one since we've done 2 shows this week. Which is fun as well. We've got stuff coming from Strike. If you're interested in seeing more about that, the Amrock Fab Lab First Friday happened on Friday, and we were the speakers for that. So we got a lot of information about that. Obviously, I'm very excited about what's happening over at that project. So if you're in the area, come check us out. I think with that, that'll do it for us for tonight. On behalf of the staff that's not here, I'm Scott.
I'm Avram.
And we'll see you back next time. Ciao.